The meat grinder battle for Avdiivka has become the deadliest clash to take place on Ukraine's frozen eastern front, while Russia suffered its worst losses this year. Russian forces have been bearing down on the shattered city of Avdiivka, known as the gateway to the major city of Donetsk, which lies 12 miles to the east. Russia has deployed 8 brigades of around 40,000 troops to mount a major offensive effort, while Ukraine bravely holds the defensive line. Thousands of Russian tanks, armored vehicles, and poorly trained and badly equipped troops have been thrown in waves at the small but strategic city in a desperate bid to seize it. Footage from the battlefield shows columns of Russian tanks storming across fields just to be easily picked off by Ukrainian aerial strikes. Other footage also showed how Ukrainian drones armed with explosives wiped out entire unprotected infantry units as they moved on foot. Avdiivka has been Putin's most costly battle, while Ukraine has also suffered serious losses. It was a repeat of the First World War-style meat grinder battle in Bakhmut, which faced its bloodiest days last winter. In less than a month, Ukraine claims Russia has suffered 7,000 casualties and lost over 100 tanks and 250 armored vehicles to advance less than a mile. This is when a Ukrainian tank completely destroys it. One Ukrainian tank destroys an entire Russian armored column in a failed enemy attack. We start with the battle near Novodonetsk. Footage showed a Russian tank and 2 armored vehicles trying to attack Ukrainian positions through the tree line. But one of the Kiev tanks destroyed them with accurate fire. Both armored vehicles were blown to pieces before the Russian tank became a smoldering wreck. Attacking Ukraine's eastern Donbas region, Russian forces were decimated by drone-controlled artillery and mortar attacks. This footage clearly shows a failed attack by the Russian 37th Separate Guards Motorized Rifle Brigade against positions held by the Ukrainian 58th Motorized Infantry Brigade. In the drone images, a Russian armored column led by a mine-clearing tank driving across a farm field pulls up near a wood line, where Russian infantrymen jump out of armored carriers following the tank. A BMP-2 infantry fighting vehicle and a BTR personnel carrier are shown. A Ukrainian howitzer shell strikes 15 meters from the infantry some 20 seconds after soldiers exit their carriers. Shell splinters appear to cut down at least 2 Russian soldiers and to force the others to throw themselves flat. Multiple explosions typical of cluster munitions detonate among them. MTLB light armored personnel carrier drives up and unloads 10 infantrymen. A rocket-propelled explosive hits the left rear of the MTLB, and then at least 12 explosions, possibly from automatic grenades, detonate among the soldiers and around the vehicle. The MTLB driver appears to back away from the location in panic. This is a classic ambush tactic. Blow up the first and last vehicles in the convoy, trapping the other vehicles and their crews on the battlefield. Russian troops and their convoys can no longer venture out into the open without attracting the attention of Ukrainian drones and the artillery and rockets they direct. Ukrainian pilots, gunners, drone operators, and electronic warfare specialists hunted Russian defense systems, and perhaps more critically, targeted Russian electronic warfare systems to prevent Russia from jamming Ukrainian drones. Ukrainian drones are increasingly roaming the front lines, one consequence of Ukrainian forces' concerted efforts this summer to achieve local air superiority over the region. We witness the power of the Javelin as another missile soars through the sky. As 2 BMPs and a tank roll down a field, the first Javelin missile is launched and strikes one of the BMPs. The other BMP continues on, but without any mine-clearing equipment, it's not long before it runs over a mine and meets its demise. The tank, lacking supporting infantry, is forced to retreat. In the Bakhmut sector, Ukrainian defenders repulsed 12 attacks by Russian invaders. This happened near Klishchiivka, Bodanivka, Ivanivka, and Andriivka in Donetsk Oblast. The Ukrainian defense forces also continued to attack south of Bakhmut, inflicting manpower and equipment losses on the enemy and consolidating their positions. The enemy also carried out futile offensive operations in the Lyman sector. This happened in the Nadia and Serebryansky forestry districts of the Luhansk region. Russian troops continued to try to encircle Avdiivka. Ukrainian defenders held out on the defensive line, inflicting heavy losses on the invaders. The Russians continued to try to regain control of the railway near Klishchiivka, as success would allow them to improve their position. The enemy still mostly uses infantry. Russia tried to achieve results with continuous attacks, but this did not happen. This was a fierce battle between Russian and Ukrainian forces, which saw a massive offensive. Fierce clashes broke out in the battle for the industrial city of Bakhmut in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk region, according to footage of the battle published by the Kyiv military broadcaster. The devastated city of Bakhmut has seen some of the fiercest clashes of the conflict. Ukraine has reported destroying a large number of Russian tanks and equipment in the Bakhmut direction, as the country continues its counteroffensive efforts to retake territory Russia lost during the war. Air reconnaissance troops from the 30th Separate Mechanized Brigade used unmanned aerial vehicles with ammunition drop systems to damage 2 Russian tanks in the vicinity of Bakhmut. A quadcopter launched by an operator and armed with grenades spotted a Russian tank attempting to attack Ukrainian positions north of Bakhmut. The armored vehicle drove towards the position of the Ukrainian armed forces and fired 2 125mm cannons. After that, the crew turned the tank and the combat vehicle accelerated, trying to reach a safe place. But the UAV operator launched a drone armed with grenades at the tank. The drone overtook the tank and dropped ammunition in front of it on the road. First, the drone threw a grenade directly under the Russian combat vehicle and disabled it, then attacked another tank that came to evacuate.